This is a process that began in 1851 by Frederick Archer. And the wonderful thing about doing this today is that there is a large international community that participates. And thanks to the internet, the ability to learn and share and work with others is really tremendous. The wet plate collodion process is really a form of instant photography that date back to the mid-1800s. One of the wonderful parts of the process is that there's just so much preparation to get to that almost instant magical moment when the photograph appears on the plate. Now today we have the luxury of buying stuff, chemicals, clean water. But back in the 1800s, procuring this was not the easiest thing. We also have the advantage of latex and nitrile gloves, clean glassware, and while that all helps with the process, we still have to go through the same steps that the people did 150 years ago. Today I can mail order some of the chemicals or go down to Home Depot and pick up some of the stuff I need. Back then, you'd go to the local chemist, or you might even make some of the things yourself. One of the key ingredients in photography from the very beginning has been the use of silver. And we have the daguerreotype process, which used a silver-coated copper plate that was iodized. And in wet plate, we wind up using silver nitrate as a primary way of sensitizing the wet plates. One of the great things about this process is that you don't have to be a chemist, although many of the early wet plate photographers worked chemists and came from a background there into photography, is that you only need to pick up as much chemistry and knowledge of chemistry as necessary for the process. And if you want to learn more about it, you can, but it's actually fairly straightforward and simple. There's something special about working with large format cameras, whether you're working with a portrait or a landscape, and that it forces you to slow down. And the same thing with the wet plate process is that it is a slow process in that you just don't instantly create an image, but there's a lot of preparation involved in order to get to that near instant image. I really enjoy the fact that we can marry the latest technology that we have in a variety of areas and combine that with this process dating back to the 1800s. The idea of a camera is just so simple, that you have a lens, an ability to focus, and then some type of medium in order to record the image. As important as the process is, working with the subject, whether it's a landscape or an individual or group of people, is just as important as the process in creating a wet plate. Each image is unique. When you take out a plate and clean it, to pouring the collodion on it, to developing the image, there is so much handmade process in creating a wet plate that even if I take 2 photographs of the same thing using this process, they will each have their own personality. An interesting technical aspect of the material is that it doesn't see all the colors of light. In fact, it doesn't see red or yellow or even into the orange a little bit. Those colors are invisible in this process. And that also makes it different from that of a photograph that you would take with any camera on any contemporary film or on a cell phone. This really is the instant photography. Once you've taken the picture, you bring it back into a darkroom, you pour the developer on it, and within seconds, you get to see the results of your work. One of the magical things in photography that we miss is being able to see that latent image develop. And that magic of just seeing the image slowly appear and rise up out of the material, still for me, is something that I always look forward to. And was one of the early things that got me into photography, is just going, wow, look at what we can do with this. From the time you pour a plate, put it in silver nitrate, take the picture, develop it, dry it, and varnish it, can be about 15 or 20 minutes. Just a little bit longer than the old Polaroids, and a little bit longer than, say, a selfie with an iPhone.